His name was glorious, kingdom reigns forevermore. Hear, O Israel, the Lord God, the Lord is one. Blessed be his name, his glorious kingdom reigns forevermore. Hear, O Israel, the Lord God, the Lord is one. Blessed be his name, his glorious kingdom reigns forevermore. Hear, O Israel, the Lord God, the Lord is one. Blessed be his name, his glorious kingdom reigns forevermore. God bless. Shema.
I came to the conclusion. Alright, man, what you think? Talk to me. It's nothing we can fix in this world. Yo, it's clear if you read this Bible, man. Man, when Christ coming back? You know? Hey, I'ma wait. I'ma sit right here. No, for real. Yeah, I'ma wait. I'm sitting here. Struggle real cause I'm new and it's truth. Had to change my ways and the things that I do. The world start tripping when you start wearing fringes. Your friends go missing and your fam won't listen. They say that I changed cause I'm doing things different. Instead of following the pastor, prefer to follow scriptures. Tired of being attentive to opinions. If you insert into the word, you are sinning. Telling me how this world works with no chapter or verse. I done did bad, I ain't trying to do worse. But sir, you can do whatever you like. I prefer to follow these books and wait on Christ. And it's a battle each day. Gotta read his word and do what it say. Make sure I don't sin. Matthew 24:13 and do it to the end. I pray that my family's great. Be in one accord with his word one day. Until you come back to this place, I'm gonna spread your word and do it and wait. And wait, yeah, do it and wait, and do it and wait, yeah, do it and wait, and do it and wait, 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 yeah. And I ain't doing things my way. I'ma wait like a line on Black Friday, or like a cashier when it's closing time, or like the last day in the voting line. Technology's so advanced, but we so behind. Closed off to people with an open mind. I can read red letter and they say I'm lying. I know it's bad, but at times I get tired of trying. I be trying to force them to see. In reality, just the past year, they was me. But the best way to help them understand it, seeing my actions, following these commandments. It's a battle each day. Gotta read his word and 24:13 and do it to the end. I pray that my family's great. Be in one accord with his word one day. Until you come back to this place, I'm gonna spread your word and do it and wait. And wait, yeah, do it and wait, and do it and wait, yeah, do it and wait, and do it and wait, do it and wait, do it and wait, do it and wait, do it and wait.
Hey, I'm ready for you.
Yogic.
Spiritual memory testifies to the legacy. Exit the boat with heritage, now we abide in heresy. Trying to reimagine the structure like doing puzzles without a picture to go by. Generations of blow by. Now we trying to forge us a culture within the midst of this. So don't be too confounded when some of our efforts missing it. Is it impossible to these spiritual obstacles like chains on your spirit? If you listen, you hear it. We can make a striped suit to the new fashion. What if that power landed within the right hands? Made it cool to be illiterate. Proving that we niggerish. When who you see a fools are just the chosen seed regenerate. Breaking through the concrete, bringing light to our pain. Our maladies are our public, our efforts can't be sustained. It's like astigmatism, we don't see reality. We look up to celebrities, forget our principality. Oh.
Yogic.
Israel study night and day just to cut each other. If only we could see to love each other. When the last time you thought to hug instead of mean mug a brother? Or even pray the Father never cease to love the brother. Damn, the people nodding on my blood fam. We all washed by the sun lamb. He was led to the slaughter like a dumb lamb. He didn't bother, knew the Father had some plan. We see the news nightly, singing blues, channel 2. Keep our people in the snooze, and the noose is far too likely. From the place that make you think of light blue Nikes. Smashing on these blue devils, we the battle axes. Thunder pounding, knock Haaretz off his slanted axes. Now we finally upright, walking righteous practice. From Rashid to Hazon, that's living lyrics. Water for the living spirit. Scour the globe for compositions that tell a story. Write a novel just to share his glory. Over audio, this division of Obadiah, Joel, Malachi, and Zechariah. We desire to Kayam higher by the Most High to gather fruit from the yard. Until we notice that every tree has been scarred, left unattended by the tenants that would sleep while other creatures entered. And now it's time to see the treatment rendered. At the feast, we see the preachers hindered. And now the people are deceased. Remember reading stories of Moses trying to bring the people through the desert with a heart and heart. Imagine how they made it hard. We get creative trying to play the part, and ever subtle trying to live the scriptures. You'll be surprised with niggas just for pictures. At every summit with their secret interests, the baddest garments and the biggest fringes. Phylacteries like cobblestones restrict the sight and vision. We the Ezras of the new age. See the correlation, the unfaithful was regenerated. We mix tapes till the shit breaks. Now we victims of preaching for views. Check the tool for the clickbaits and lengthy titles. We just trying to peruse who the Father would use within this generation. Will it be you?
Yogic.
Hey, shalom, 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 Israel. All right. How about Shimmy? I was Shabarakatham. All praise to the Most High, man. We happy to be back in here on a Thursday night. We appreciate y'all for joining. Right. I'm your brother Jonathan.
Brother Boaz. Shalom, Israel.
Khan. We the Anointed House of Saints, man. So we're gonna get into this live Torah class tonight. Once again, as always, we definitely want to open it up for a conversation. I am going to get through Exodus 25 tonight, though, right? Last week we did 24 and 25. We started with Exodus 25, but we ain't finished. So we're going to jump into Exodus 25 today. We're going to start from the top, go to the bottom. We're going to finish it. Then we'll open it up to have like conversation on whatever topic y'all feel like having a conversation on, right? So let's get right into it. I'm gonna let the brother jump in and start with the shout outs and all that good stuff. Any announcements, and then we'll jump right into it.
All right, I'll make this extra quick.
Yep.
Of course, shalom to the sister Joan Gilchrist, first in the building. Shalom to the sister Debbie Diane. Shalom to that brother Zebulon. Shalom to Adawan Knot. Shalom to the sister Malka. Shalom to the sister Dawn. See myself. Shalom to the world without end. Shalom to the sister Gabriella, and shalom to the sister Elle, and a hearty shalom to the rest of y'all that joined the class a little bit later. Just want to give a hearty shalom out there to y'all. But yeah, I'm ready whenever you are. Can you hear me good, Adawan, or does it sound like?
Yeah, you loud and clear. You loud and clear on my side.
Okay.
All right. Hey, all praises. Hey, y'all go ahead and like the video, man. Like the video, share it, do what you got to do. I'm gonna share it a couple of times myself. Hold on. I want to make sure the people see this coming out so that y'all can understand all the elements inside the temple. Or the tabernacle, I should say. All right, so we can get into it, King, whenever you're ready. We're going to start from the top.
All right, this is the book of Genesis. It's like it. Not Genesis. Past Genesis. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 25 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring me an offering of every man that giveth it willingly with his heart, ye shall take my offering. And this is the offering which ye shall take of them: gold and silver and brass, and blue and purple and scarlet, and fine linen, and goat's hair, and ram skins, dyed red, and badger's skins, and shittim wood, oil for the light, spices for anointing oil, and for sweet incense, onyx stones, and stones to be set in the ephod in the breastplate.
All right, so we can stop right there. So first thing we read is that the Most High is taking all of these things from the people, right? Because they're going to build the tabernacle, they're going to build the holy place, but then they're also going to build all the ornaments, and they're going to build all the tools that go along with the service of the priest, right? So everything inside the tabernacle, the ephod, all the way down to the incense, right? The ark, every single thing was donated from the people. All of these materials was donated from the people, right? Now, this is cool because the Most High wants us to fund our own operations. We brought this up last week. I'm going to say it again this week. Anytime you want to build something, right, and it's biblical, especially building something holy, it's biblical to fund your own operation. So we shouldn't have the idea or the mindset that, oh, this will, things will take care of itself. Somebody else will take care of it. No. You fund your own operation. This is how we did it all throughout the Bible. And in the future, the other nations are going to fund our operation for us. Right?
So let's get into it. Let's show this real quick. Let me get Ezra 2 and 68.
And this is the book of Ezra, chapter 2, and verse 68. And some of the chief of the fathers, when they came to the house of the Lord, which is at Jerusalem, offered freely for the house of God to set it up in his place. They gave after their ability unto the treasure of the work 1,000 drams of gold, or drams of gold.
Now we can stop there. But as you see, during the time of Ezra, people were donating to the building of the second temple, right? So this is a biblical principle. We fund our own operation. We're not looking for nobody else to do it. We're not waiting for somebody else to do it. We're going to make sure the operation happens, right? I had some other precepts, but once again, we went over this last week, so we're going to keep rolling. Let's go back to Exodus 25, and we can start at verse 8.
Verse 8. And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them, according to all that I shew thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle, and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall ye make it.
Okay, so the Most High has a very specific way he wants it to be made. So I had a theory in the past, right? I'm not going to say I don't still hold this theory, but I wouldn't teach it as doctrine. But I have a theory that Moses knows exactly what I think the Most High revealed more than just words to Moses on that mountain when he was describing the ark and when he was describing the table. I think in the menorah, right, and all the other things the Most High was describing, I think that the Most High was describing these things with more than just words, right? Just being spiritual. Think about it. Read verse 9 one more time.
According to all that I shew thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle, and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall ye make it.
Okay, so he said, according to all that I showed thee. Now, of course, this can mean the instructions that are written down, right? But think about it. The Most High has a very specific design. And this design that Moses is getting ready to use for the tabernacle and later will be the pattern for the temple, that same pattern is something that the Most High is saying represents what's going on in the kingdom or in his realm, right? In the heavenly realm. Hey, Shalom, family, Shalom. Right? Sister Azaria and Karatazah, Shalom. So I want to show you something, right? Because we know that everything that Most High did in the tabernacle and later was done in the temple, all of that represents what's being done in the heavenlies, right? So let's jump over to Hebrews chapter 9 real quick. Let's start at verse 1. Because I want to show you that Moses is not just getting instructions and he's doing his best. I believe that Moses is creating this exactly according to the pattern that the Most High asked him to create it, right?
This book of Hebrews, chapter 9 and verse 1. Then verily the first covenant had also ordinances of divine service and a worldly sanctuary. For there was a tabernacle made, the first wherein was the candlestick and the table and the showbread, which is called the sanctuary. And after the second veil, the tabernacle, which is called the holiest of all, which had the golden censer and the ark of the covenant overlaid round about with gold, wherein was the golden pot that had manna, and Aaron's rod that budded, and the tables of the covenant.
And all these elements we're going to read about as Moses is getting the instructions to build it, right? But keep going.
And over it, the cherubims of glory shadowing the mercy seat, of which we cannot now speak particularly.
Now, he said he can't speak particularly of it because during the time of the book of Hebrews, the Ark of the Covenant had been lost already, right? So the Ark of the Covenant is no longer a thing. And people will no longer look for it and people will no longer find it. But he's describing what he's reading in the Torah, the same chapter that we're going to read later on, right? Exodus chapter 25. Keep going.
Now, when these things were thus ordained, the priests went always into the first tabernacle, accomplishing the service of God. But into the second.
What does that mean? All the priests that had the service of the tabernacle during their courses, because during the time of King David set up courses. And during those courses, the priests would rotate, and there would be a certain family of priests who would serve in the temple or in the tabernacle during that period of time, right? So generally, every priest would rotate in and out, and they would have their service of the temple. Some of them would go into the sanctuary and do their service there. Some of them would work in the outer courts. Some of them would be taking care of the tent and the pegs and all that type of stuff, just to take care of the actual structure of the tabernacle, right? Likewise, the same thing for the temple. And so when you read in the New Testament about John the Baptist's father was one of those priests, and he was at the temple when the angel arrived to him. He was there during his course that King David set up when the angel arrived to him, right? So this is just helping you put the Bible in the context. But keep reading.
All right. But into the second went the high priest alone once every year, not without blood, which he offered for himself and for the errors of the people. The Holy Spirit, this signifying that the way into the holiest of all was not yet made manifest, while as the first tabernacle was yet standing.
So what does this mean? Now I want to show you something. During the time of the tabernacle, the only person who could go into the Holy of Holies and experience the actual presence of the Most High, and we're going to get into these precepts, but that person was only the high priest. The high priest is the only person that ever went into the Holy of Holies, ever. Even when the temple was standing, the high priest only went in there one time a year, but he was the only person on earth that could go in there, or the entire place would be defiled, right? So with that being said, verse 8 is saying that the Spirit is teaching us that during this time, there was only one way to enter into the presence of the Most High, right? And it was not made manifest unto all, right? Let me get that in the ESV real quick. Hebrews 9 and 8. I'm gonna pull it up in the ESV. I'm going to show you something, because the book of Hebrews is a cold book, but if we allow the Christians to break it down, they'll make it mean something else. So Hebrews 9 and 8, the Holy Spirit, this signifying that the way into the holiest of all was not yet made manifest, while as yet the first tabernacle was yet standing. Right? Do you see that? Hey, Laurel. What's going on? Shalom, shalom. Yeah, that's right. That's what we teach, is that Hamashiach Yahushua is the high priest, right? Who the world calls Jesus. That's correct. So, but what the book of Hebrews is teaching right here is that the fact that only the high priest could enter into the Holy of Holies is proof that that type of access has not been given to all people yet, right? Now, let's keep reading, because the point is in verse 9.
Verse 9, which was a figure for the time then present, in which were offered both gifts and sacrifices, that could not make him that did the service perfect, as pertaining to the conscience.
Okay, let's make that make sense. So all of these things that were in the tabernacle, which we're going to talk about today, all of these things were a figure. Look what it says, for the time present. So the time present is representative of the time period that the writer of Hebrews was living in, right? Because we know that Christ came to fulfill some of these things. So all of the stuff that happened in Exodus, which we're reading about now, is pointing to the time of the writer of the Hebrews, right? And it says, in which were offered both gifts and sacrifices that could not make him that did the service perfect, right? Which stood only in meats and in drinks, diverse washings, and carnal ordinances imposed on them until the time of Reformation. So, all of that to say, everything we about to read in the book of Exodus is going to be a foreshadowing of what Christ came to do and everything that he represents now, right? All of the sacrifices he represents, the fact that he's the high priest, and the fact that, hey, that's right, he's the high priest after the order of Melchizedek, man. And we're supposed to be moving in the spirit that Christ was moving in so that we can access the spiritual things that he had access to, right? So let's go back to Exodus 25. And now we can get into the symbolism and all the rituals that our people was doing, right? Back in the tabernacle.
God, this is the book of Exodus chapter 25 and verse 10. And they shall make an ark of shittim wood, 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, within and without shalt thou overlay it, and shall make upon it a crown of gold round about. And thou shalt cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put them in the 4 corners thereof, and 2 rings shall be in the one side of it, and 2 rings in the other side of it. And thou shalt make staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold. And thou shalt put the staves into the rings by the sides of the ark, that the ark may be borne with them. The staves shall be in the rings of the ark, they shall not be taken from it. And thou shalt put into the ark the testimony which I shall give thee.
Okay, so very important. All of these things that the Most High had them do with the ark. Now, when he had them build, we brought up a picture last week, which we're not going to be able to bring up today unless Boaz still has it. But we brought up a picture last week. Okay, he's going to bring it up to show you what this ark looks like, right? So basically it was a wooden box, but it was covered with gold, right? It was basically gold plated. There were rings on the sides of it. All right, and let's zoom in on it real quick on that top image. All right, and if y'all hear that, that's Jake out here celebrating the 4th of July in the background. So it's the lock here. But so we see those poles on the side, those are used to carry the ark, because the Most High designed it in a certain way where you never even have to touch it. Now, we know that the ark represents what? The covenant. The covenant was not to be touched and manipulated with, right? And we can show you this all throughout the scriptures. Let me get this precept real quick. Right, let me get this precept real quick. Give me the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 2. So certain things that he had us create represented spiritual principles, right? And once again, I always talk about rituals. This entire building, this entire tabernacle was a ritual, right? It was a sacred space where we performed certain rituals in order to get spiritual favor from the Most High. Right, but go ahead.
This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 2. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you.
Right? So the Most High says this all over the Bible. Give me Revelation 22 and 18. right? Revelation 22 and 18. And once again, symbolically, we can't touch the ark because he don't want nobody tampering with his covenant. And likewise, he tells us, don't tamper with the words that are in this testimony, or the words that are in this covenant, right? Let's get that. We see the same thing again in Revelation 22.
In this book of Revelation, chapter 22 and verse 18. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, Yahweh shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book.
Now, do you see how that can represent the covenant? Because once again, we put the testimony and we put the words of the covenant inside the ark. So if you're commanded to never touch the ark, there's no way to go in and mess with the testimony. There's no way to go in and change anything, because what's been written is written and is sealed up. Right? It's sealed up and is not to be touched. Another thing we see symbolically from this is that the covenant was never meant for the other nations outside of the children of Israel.
Right.
As we read through the book of Judges and we read through some of the stories in the Old Testament, we see that the Canaanites and some of these other nations came and took the ark. But when they brought the ark back to their place, it was a plague and a curse on them the whole time, until the children of Israel came and got it back. Right? So these are all things that symbolically represent the covenant is to stay with the children of Israel and nobody's to tamper with it. All right, let's keep going. Let's go back to
Exodus.
Actually, I got another precept.
Okay.
No, we can leave that. We can start at verse 17.
Okay. This book of Exodus, chapter 25 and verse 17. And thou shalt make a mercy seat of pure gold, 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And thou shalt make 2 cherubims of gold, of beaten work shalt thou make them in the 2 ends of the mercy seat. And make 1 cherub on the one end, and the other cherub on the other end.
You see that? No, my fault. But you see that? So it's cherubim on both sides of the mercy seat. The mercy seat is basically the lid that goes on top of the Ark of the Covenant. And then there's 2 cherubim on the outside facing in. And the Most High is said to be dwelling in the middle of the cherubim. Right? Well, let's keep reading. We're going to pull the precepts and show y'all that here in a second.
Okay. Even of the mercy seat shall ye make the cherubims of the 2 ends thereof, and the cherubims shall stretch forth their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings, and their faces shall look one to another. Toward the mercy seat shall the faces of the cherubims be. And thou shalt put the mercy seat above upon the ark, and in the ark thou shalt put the testimony that I shall give thee.
Go ahead.
And there I will meet with thee, and I will commune with thee from above the mercy seat, from between the 2 cherubims which are upon the ark of the testimony of all things which I will give thee in commandment unto the children of Israel.
Now, I believe that this is why the Most High wants us to, I believe this is why the Most High wants us to face towards the temple, towards the place where he said his name would be there, right? Because his presence was supposed to be dwelling in the temple, and his presence was supposed to be dwelling in the Holy of Holies above the mercy seat. Now, y'all put it in the chat. Let's do a quick meditation. Let's do a quick meditation on this. Why is it called the mercy seat? And I know we went over this last week, but let's see what y'all got. Why is this called the mercy seat? right? And give me Boaz, if you can. Grab me Psalms 82 and 8. Hey, that's right, man. Let's put some W's in the chat, man. Let's put some W's in the chat. Right? So let's see what y'all got. Why is it called the mercy seat? All right, all praises. All right, go ahead, Boaz. Let's see what you got. Psalms 82 and 8.
And it's the book of Psalms, chapter 82 and verse 8. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations.
Okay, so now that's a clue. So if the Most High is the God of the whole earth, and his job is to judge the nations, right? What exactly is the mercy seat, and why is it called the mercy seat? Right, let's think about it. When judgment is passed down, right, the Most High is already telling you that he's going to give you mercy, but he's going to have mercy on you. Hey, that's right. You want the Most High to have mercy on you. He's saying that I'm only going to have mercy on you from the place of the covenant. Now I want you to think about it. This is a cold concept when you meditate on it. Give me Exodus 20 and 6. The Most High has mercy according to his covenant and according to his promises that he's given to the children of Israel. So the covenant is connected with mercy. Listen, the only reason the Most High still is going to come back and save us, he already said this, is because of the promise that he swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right? Because of that promise, not because the children of Israel were wonderful people and the Most High, you know, he never got mad at them. We know that's not it. It's because he made a promise with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and he's going to make good on his word, on his promise. Right? So the Most High is literally saying this is the mercy seat because I am remembering the testimony, I'm remembering the covenant, the promise that I made with your forefathers, which is also contained in the book that's inside of this ark. Man. It's a witness. So that's a witness that serves to remind the Most High of the mercy that he said he would have on us. But we still have a stipulation to follow. Go ahead and read that.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 6. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
You see that? He shows mercy to those who keep his commandments. Right? So it's very interesting that he's sitting on the mercy seat that contains the testimony or the book of the covenant, and that seat represents his throne. Right? Now we can go into the precepts that shows that this is the Most High's throne. Let me grab those real quick. Boom. Yep, we hit that. Okay. All right, give me the book of 2 Kings 19 and 15.
It's the book of 2 Kings, chapter 19 and verse 15. And Hezekiah prayed before the Lord and said, O Lord God of Israel, which dwellest between the cherubims, thou art the God, even thou alone, of all the kingdoms of the earth. Thou hast made heaven and earth.
Okay, you see that? So this right here is showing you that the Most High dwells between the cherubim, just like we read about in Exodus, right? Now, this is called a seat. This is called a mercy seat. Nobody is supposed to sit there, but the Most High dwells there. So if we put these things together, we see the Most High dwells in this seat. That would make this a throne, right? The angels or the cherubim are surrounding him with their wings open, and they just sitting there, kind of praising the Most High, right? Giving glory to the Most High. Let me give you another example of this. Isaiah 37:16.
Just the book of Isaiah, chapter 37 and verse 16. O
Yep.
Lord of hosts, God of Israel, that dwellest between the cherubims, thou art the God, even thou alone, of all the kingdoms of the earth. Thou hast made heaven and earth.
You see that? Most High God dwells between the cherubim. All right. Now, remember I told you before that this represents the spiritual things. Everything that we did symbolically and ritually on the earth, and we can pull that down, King, that picture. Everything we did symbolically and spiritually on the physical realm represents what's going on the spiritual realm, right? Now, I didn't have this precept ready last time, but let's bring it out this time. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 10 and verse 1, right? And let's see what happens in the spirit, in the spiritual realm that represents what's going on in the temple or in the tabernacle.
It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 10 and verse 1. Then I looked, and behold, in the firmament that was above the head of the cherubims, there appeared over them as it were sapphire stone, as the appearance of the likeness of a throne.
Okay, come on.
And he spake unto the man clothed with linen, and said, Go in between the wheels, even under the cherub, and fill thine hand with coals of fire from between the cherubims, and scatter them over the city. And he went in my sight.
Go ahead.
Now the cherubim stood on the right side of the house when the man went in, and the cloud filled the inner court. Then the glory of the Lord went up from the cherub and stood over the threshold of the house, and the house was filled with the cloud, and the court was full of the brightness of the Lord's glory.
Go ahead.
And the sound of the cherubim's wings was heard even to the outer court, as the voice of the Almighty God when he speaketh. And it came to pass that when he had commanded the man clothed with linen, saying, Take fire from between the wheels, from between the cherubims, and he went in and stood beside the wheels, and one cherub stretched forth his hand from between the cherubims unto the fire that was between the cherubims, and took thereof, and put it into the hands of him that was clothed with linen, who took it and went out.
Okay, now you can go back and read this later, but symbolically and spiritually, what are we seeing, right? We're seeing the same place that we were describing in Exodus, the same place that the prophet Isaiah was describing, the same place the Second Kings was describing, right? That element of space between the cherubim, and the angel is saying, yo, go grab the coal from between the cherubim. Now, there's coal there, there's fire there, there's some type of judgment or some type of spiritual energy there between those cherubim. We saw that the throne of the Most High dwells above this, right? So once again, what happens on earth happens in the spiritual realm, or what happens on earth is connected and represents what's going on in the spiritual realm, right? We can go a lot deeper into that. That would be a great breakdown video. Ezekiel chapter 10. But let's get back into Exodus 25 so that we don't lose our place of what's going on here. All right. All praise to the Most High. Let's get back. Let's go to verse 23. Exodus 25.
This book of Exodus chapter 25 and verse 23. Thou shalt also make a table of shittim wood, 2 cubits shall be the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, and make thereto a crown of gold round about. And thou shalt make unto it a border of an hand breadth round about, and thou shalt make a golden crown to the border thereof round about. And thou shalt make for it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings in 4 corners that are on the 4 feet thereof. Over against the border shall the rings be for places of the staves to bear the table. And thou shalt make the staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold, that the table may be borne with them.
Right. So that just means so that the table can be lifted up and picked up by these rings and by the staves, right? So it's the exact same thing as what you saw earlier with the ark. There are rings on the side. There's wooden poles that go through, so nobody ever got to touch that table. If you got to move it out of there, you never have to touch it. Right? Keep going.
And thou shalt make the dishes thereof, and spoons thereof, and covers thereof, and bowls thereof. To cover withal of pure gold shalt thou make them. And thou shalt set them, and thou shalt set upon the table showbread before me always.
Okay, now, in order to understand the showbread, let's get Leviticus 24 and 5. Right, let's understand what the showbread is, and let's see what it represents.
It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 24 and verse 5. And thou shalt take fine flour and bake 12 cakes thereof. 2/10 deals shall be in 1 cake. And thou shalt set them in 2 rows, 6 on a row, upon the pure table before the Lord. And thou shalt put pure frankincense upon each row, that it may be on the bread for a memorial, even an offering made by fire unto the Lord. Every Sabbath he shall set it in order before the Lord, continually being taken from the children of Israel by an everlasting covenant.
All right, hold on real quick before you read that next verse. What does it mean, being taken from the children of Israel? What does that mean? This is kind of going down a rabbit hole just a little bit, but I want to make sure that everybody in the class knows what this means. Right? Well, I'm going to give y'all a second to bring that in. All right, let's give y'all a second. All right. We stumped them. We got one point for the home team, man. We stumped y'all on this one.
Yeah, they
right?
Sleep.
Right, they sleep. Okay, so let me help y'all out. So what this means, it says every Sabbath he shall set it in order before the Lord continually. So he is the priest that is in this office, right? Not necessarily the high priest, but the priest that is in this particular offering, in this particular office. And every Sabbath he makes new showbread and he lays it out on the table. Now I want to bring something out real quick. How do you make bread? We just read it, right? You have to take fine flour and bake 12 cakes, and then you have to lay frankincense on top of it. This was done on the Sabbath. So this is a commandment of the Most High commanding a priest to cook on the Sabbath. He's commanding a priest, every Sabbath, you have to bake this bread and set it before me. Right? So we're showing you that he is lawful for this priest to prepare this bread on the Sabbath. That's number one. Number two, that bread stays there for 6 days, and he eats it on the following Sabbath. So he makes it this Sabbath, it stays there all week. He come back next Sabbath, and he eats it again. All right. So the bread is always 7 days old when they come and eat the bread. Now, this is what it says. It says, being taken from the children of Israel by an everlasting covenant. This is cold. And the reason this is so cold is because we got to understand when the Most High says it's an everlasting covenant, this means that this is always going to be something that the children of Israel will do. Right? It is given as a representation. That's right. Sister Dawn said it's given as a representation. But it's taken from the children of Israel. This is a holy offering given from the people. Right? So when you go into the New Testament and you read the word Corban, right? And I'm going to bring it up. Let's bring this up real quick. This would be a really good time to go into this. All right. Corban in the Bible. Let me see where that verse is at real quick. Okay. Mark 7 and 11. Give me Mark 7 and 11. Okay.
This book of Mark, chapter 7 and verse 11. But ye say, if a man shall say to his father or mother, it is Corban, that is to say, a gift by whatsoever thou mightest be profited by me, he shall be free.
Okay. Only reason I wanted to bring that out is not to explain what Mark 7 and 11 is talking about. I'm bringing that out to show you that the word Corban is used in the New Testament, and this is a concept that was understood by our ancestors. Corban, this is the encyclopedia. Encyclopedia.com says Corban is a term used in the Hebrew Bible to signify literally the thing brought near or offered to God. So what happened was people would bring gifts that they would offer to the temple, right? Some of these gifts would be set apart. Some of these gifts would just be free will offerings. Some of these gifts would be things that were given to the Levites, right? Because the Levites had to eat too. They didn't have regular jobs. They served in the temple or the tabernacle, and what the people gave was given to the Levites for the most part, right? But check this out. Whenever somebody was bringing something that was brought as an offering to the Most High and it was set aside to be a holy thing, that flour will be put to the side, right? So that grain or whatever will be put to the side into a holy separate place. And then from that, they would use that to make your showbread. So this is why the priests, because think about it, the priests were not going out into the field and harvesting bread, right? Harvesting wheat. They weren't harvesting barley. They weren't doing that. They were serving in the temple. They were doing their service, and they were set apart to the Most High. The other people of the nation would come and bring these things to the temple, dedicate these things, and then from what the people brought, once again, talking about funding your own operations, from what the people brought, that's where the people said, hey, we can use this to make the showbread, right? So that's why verse 8 says, being taken from the children of Israel. Now, what's so cold about that is this is a holy set apart offering from the Most High. So for y'all people who teach that the children of Israel will no longer be a nation in the last days, or you have replacement theology and you think there's a spiritual Israel now, how can this law ever be fulfilled? This law could never be fulfilled if the children of Israel are not going to be put back in their rightful position on this earth, right? And this law can also never be fulfilled if the Levites are not going to come back and keep their office throughout the generations, right? So all praise to the Most High. Hey, Tribe of Judah, man, we could deal with it, but we getting into some stuff, man. We're getting into some stuff right now. Build with us on this Exodus 25 real quick. And hey, chat, y'all don't pour into it. Don't pour into it. But what we're gonna do is we will give you an opportunity to speak your mind if you want to. Just allow us to get through the lesson. All right. So let's go back. So now we understand what the table is for, what the showbread represents, and who the offering of grain comes from that the priests make the showbread out of. Right. So right now we can't even make the showbread because the priests aren't in their office. Right. We have no set apart grain. We have no set apart services, and we have no tabernacle to put them on, and all of that type of stuff. Right. So it's a lot of stuff that's not going on. So now let's go back. Exodus 25. I think we at verse 31.
John, this is the book of Exodus, chapter 25. Hold on. I'm just making sure I'm that far down. Let's see. All right. Con. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 25 and verse 31. And now shall make a candlestick of pure gold, of beaten work shall the candle be made. His shaft and his branches, his boughs, his knops and his flowers shall be of the same. And 6 branches shall come out of the sides of it, 3 branches of the candlestick out of the one side, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side. 3 bowls made like unto almonds, with a knop and a flower in one branch, and 3 bowls made like almonds in the other branch, with a knop and a flower. So in the 6 branches that came out of the candlestick, and in the candlestick shall be 4 bowls made like unto almonds, with their knops and their flowers. And there shall be a knop under 2 branches of the same, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches that proceed out of the candlestick. Their knops and their branches shall be of the same. All it shall be one beaten work of pure gold. And thou shalt make the 7 lamps thereof, and they shall light the lamps thereof, that they may give light over against it. And the tongs thereof and the snuff dishes thereof shall be of pure gold. Of a talent of pure gold shall he make it with all these vessels, and look that thou make them after their pattern, which was showed thee in the mount.
Okay, so all praise to the Most High. So let's get into it real quick, right? What were the 2 things that the menorah was fashioned after? Right, so we know it's the candlestick, but it represents 2 other things as well, right? 2 other spiritual principles. If you could just give me all praise. If you can give me 2 spiritual principles that the menorah represents, then we'll be done with it. We'll move on. All right, let's see what y'all got. Hey, Tribe of Judah, what you think? Right? The as far as the menorah, what 2 elements did the Bible say that the menorah was fashioned after? Right? Come on, let's see what y'all got in the chat. 2 important elements too, right? And actually, while you're doing that, I'm going to pull a precept that we read all the time, right? All right, so he don't want to deal with the Bible. So, okay, so it says, boom, 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 boom. Where we at? Okay. So Revelation 1 and 12, right?
Con, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 12. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me.
Now this is John, the writer of the book of Revelation, right? Go ahead.
And being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks.
Now the 7 golden candlesticks represents the menorah, right? Keep going.
Con. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle.
Now, why is it describing the 7 golden candlesticks and then also describing Yahushua? I know y'all know the answer to this. What image and where are they saying Yahushua is? Where are they saying he is at? Right? And the brother pulled up an image, right, to show you. You can explain that image if you want to, King.
Okay. So I was coming across this online, and I was seeing it like the way they talking about how the menorah was made. And if you look at it, the menorah we have today is like the 7 candlesticks. They just go straight across. Well, in the image that I have here is showing where you have one stick in the middle, and each of the 2 sticks each have a side, which also makes up like the way that either a pomegranate would be, or the Most High's favorite flower, which is the lily, right? Or the signet of David that he used.
Yeah, that's interesting, because look, what's so cold about that is, if that is in fact true, that would cut a lot of people who are against the so-called pomegranate. Right? Now, of course, we can't prove that right now, but I think that's an interesting point. Right? Because like you said, you got 6 points on the outside. That star on the left, that 6-pointed star on the left is supposed to represent from the top view. Right? And then the point in the middle is the middle stick, and then there's 6 points around it to be the 7. Right? So yeah, hey, you know what I mean? That would be cold. But watch this. Watch this, right? So in Revelation, they're describing Christ amongst the 7 golden candlesticks, because as we read in Exodus and later on in Leviticus, we're going to see that only the priest's job. Nah, don't block him. Don't block him. Don't even block him, because we can deal with that. But when we look at the priest's job is to light the menorah and to keep it lit. When we get to Revelation, we see that Christ is walking amongst the 7 golden candlesticks, and it starts describing the garment that he has on, the girdle that he has on, because it's showing you that he's the high priest, right? This is a spiritual connection to the law and to the covenant and to the testimony, saying this person that was talking to me represents the high priest on the spiritual level, right? So it's a lot of things we got to understand when we go into this Torah. We have to understand a lot of things before we can start jumping in and saying, oh man, I read the book of Revelation, or I read the book of Ezekiel. It's a lot of symbolic and ritualistic things going on that you have to understand from the law first. That's why we call the law the milk, right? Now let's deal with this. Right, let's deal with this. What Tribe of Judah said. Tribe of Judah is basically saying ethnicity. He's looking. You can look at a person and tell their ethnicity. Now that's cold. Boaz, pull me up a picture real quick. we gonna run through it real easy, right? Pull me up a picture. I'm gonna give you a person's name. Hold on. I'm not even gonna tell you who this is. Right?
You just gonna drop it. You can send it to me and I'll pull it up.
All right, yeah. Let me pull this name up real quick. Say something real fast. Hold on.
Matter of fact, I got something. Since we going Let's see what we have here. All right. Dang, I wish I could pull this up a little bit better. All right, here we go. I got one.
Yeah, I was gonna send you one too, but go ahead.
That's cool. Send me one.
All right.
I'm with it. Who is this?
Yeah. Right.
Who's that?
Right.
I mean, we can obviously see it on the right side, but you know what I'm saying?
I'm about to take this picture. I'm gonna send it to you real quick.
You know, that's your boy Blake Griffin, and that's his son, right? Right.
Hey, I just sent you a good one.
Okay.
Just pull this up real quick. I want to see something real quick, right? Because if we gonna judge the matter properly, then let's judge it properly, right? The scripture says, "Blame not before thou hast examined the whole matter."
That's right.
All right, so we're gonna share this. Who now, brother Tribe of Judah? Who is this? Now I've taken away. Zoom in just a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Boom, there you go. All right. So who is this? Right? Is this an Israelite child, or is this what you would call a Mamser? And question: what is your definition of the word Mamser? Right? And the beautiful thing about it is we waited till after we got done with Exodus 25 to go into this. But I would love to know what his definition of Mamser is. Okay, so he said that's a Mamser, but you're not telling us what the definition is. Help us learn what the definition of Mamser is.
Right.
Because I'm gonna let you say it, and then I'm gonna tell you who this is. Right? Now, we can't use a Mamser is a mixed Negro. Now, you see, you already stuck your foot in your mouth.
Already.
Right?
Oh.
So when you say mixed, what do you mean by mixed?
Mm-hmm.
You mean somebody had a child with somebody outside of the children of Israel? That equals a Mamser?
Uh-oh.
Because if we saying that, it's a problem.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of problems.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? We got to get this. Come on, let's get it. We're going to deal with the Bible. Right? Okay, so let's just deal with what he said. A Mamser is a mixed Negro. Now, I'm going to pull this up on my Bible app. Simple topical search of the word Mamser. Right? We're going to pull up the word Mamser. Okay, now he's saying adulterated Negro. I still don't know what that means. Somebody help us out. What is he trying to say?
Yeah, produce what it means, and then also produce a scripture that backs that up.
Hey, and Boaz, while you at it, give me John 9 and 34 real quick. I want to take a look at this. John 9 and 34.
It's the book of John, chapter 9 and verse 34. They answered and said unto him, Thou wast altogether born in sins, and dost thou teach us?
Okay, now, this right here is a very interesting passage. I want to show y'all. I'm just finding out about this passage myself. So when you go to John 9 and 34, if you pull up an alternate version of it, and I'm gonna read it in the parallel, read down to 36.
God. And they cast him out. And Yahushua heard that they had cast him out. And when he had found him, he said unto him, Dost thou believe on the Son of Yahweh? He answered and said, Who is he, Lord, that I might believe on him?
Okay, so watch this. When you go to the hold on, where's that? Just pulled it up. Salakia, hold on. Okay, so when you look at the CSB, right? CJB, I'm sorry. CJB, you can find this on Bible Gateway, which is the complete Jewish Bible. Very interesting. It says, why you Mamser? They retorted, are you lecturing us? And they threw him out. And Yeshua heard that they had thrown the man out. He found him and said, do you trust in the Son of Man? Sir, he answered, tell me who he is so that I can trust in him. So when you look at the CJB, the complete Jewish Bible of John 9 and 34, it actually translates that verse as you Mamser. Now, why am I bringing this out? Because the word Mamser is not about being born of a mixed union, right? And we're going to show you this by looking at the definition, and then I'm going to circle back and make that point. So the Blue Letter Bible, Mamser is H4464, right? When we pull up the Strong's info, it says it's from an unused root meaning to alienate, right? Now watch this. In the Strong's definition, it says born of a Jewish father and a heathen mother. And then it says bastard. No, he's saying bullshit, but this definition is actually agreeing with your position. But if you use that definition, then that means that David's bloodline comes from a Mamser.
Ooh.
Right?
That's where I was going.
So you see what I'm saying? So this thought process can't be fully thought out. That means that the children of Moses were Mamsers.
Right.
Because Moses married an Egyptian woman, an Ethiopian woman, I believe it was actually.
Yep.
But he married a woman, and he was actually berated for it from his sister and his brother. Right? And that's when the Most High made that's when he did the sign, right, with the hand sticking into the cloak and all that stuff, right? So what are we doing, bro? Now, if we go even further, Ephraim and Manasseh, a brother put it in the chat. Okay, he said Moses' children are Mamsers. Okay, so if this is your position, then fine, but you would have to show that Moses' children were not allowed to enter the congregation. You would have to show that Ephraim and Manasseh's children were not allowed to enter the congregation. And that's going to be impossible to prove. You're not going to be able to show that. You're not going to be able to show that Ephraim and Manasseh themselves will not be able to enter into the congregation, not even their children. Ephraim and Manasseh would mean that they would be Mamsers as well by that definition, right? So, but let's keep reading. Let's keep reading because this is the reason why I wanted to pull this out. Now, when you go into Deuteronomy 23 and 3, let's get that real quick, Boaz.
Deuteronomy chapter 23 in verse 3. An Ammonite or a Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord, even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of the Lord.
Okay, so my fault. Go ahead.
Oh no, that was it.
Okay, so an Ammonite and a Moabite cannot enter into the congregation of the Lord. Now, there are marriages that are forbidden. There are unions that are actually forbidden according to the Torah, right? When we go into the nations that the Most High told the children of Israel to never marry, right? And I'm gonna pull that up. I believe that's Israel, right? Okay, give me Deuteronomy 7:1 real quick. I thought it was 7, but I was about to say 6. I know it ain't 6. I'm tripping.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and have cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt not make no covenant with them, nor shew mercy unto them, neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
Okay, so a mamzer properly is actually the children of those who were made by a forbidden union, right? So when we look at the Ammonites and the Moabites, when we start looking at all these other nations that the children of Israel was never supposed to marry, when you have a child with one of these nations, that child is not supposed to be a part of the congregation. Therefore, there is a literal term for that child, right? And that child is the mamzer. Not just because an Israelite married anybody outside of the children of Israel. Notice, Ethiopians are not on this list. Notice, certain people are not on this list, right? So if you're going to say that everybody the children of Israel marries outside of the children of Israel is a mamzer, then it's a bunch of people that's mamzers, and it's a bunch of people that weren't supposed to be in a congregation, but they was. So that interpretation cannot be correct, right? When we go into Deuteronomy chapter 7, these are the forbidden nations that cannot enter the congregation, and these are the people with whom, if you have children with them, then you are creating a mamzer, right? That's how that works. All right, let's see what he said. He said, you read an English version. This is the correct reading of that verse. The men who are sexually disabled are forbidden to enter the temple. Okay, hey, let's pull this up. Let's pull this up real quick. Deuteronomy 23:2. Give me that in the blue letter real quick, or in Bible Hub, so we can see it in the interlinear. I'm pulling it up on my phone as well. Right. Okay.
There you go. All right,
and let's go back to verse 1 to start. Okay. So start at verse 1. Start at Deuteronomy 23 and verse 1.
God. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23 and verse 1. He that is wounded in the stones or have his privy member cut off shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord.
Okay, so a eunuch, right, or somebody who is wounded in the stones. All right, let's keep going.
A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord, even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Lord.
Okay, so that word right there is one of illegitimate birth. Go to the interlinear, please. INT, right there. Yep. And then just zoom in on Mamser. Should be the third word up there. All right. One of illegitimate birth. Right? Now, what's the only way to have an illegitimate birth? And we already looked at the term, but you can click on it, 4464. Zoom in. A bastard, it says a child of incest, right? Which would be covered under illegitimate birth.
Right.
Right? Because once again, if there's forbidden people that you're not supposed to lay with and you're not supposed to have sex with, if you go and lay and have sex with those people, you are in an illegitimate sexual situation, and the fruit of that illegitimate sexual situation, the Most High has nothing to do with that. Right? Notice, we have not broken into in this part of the verse so far, we have not broken into anything that says that this is of anybody who's mixed. It don't say that. Right? But let's keep reading. Right? Keep reading it in there. It says, go back real quick and scroll up. Or my fault. Go back one page. Go back to the Hebrew. Yeah. He said a mongrel people. Okay, so one of illegitimate birth, right? So it says, shall not enter one of illegitimate birth into the assembly of Yahweh, even to the 10th generation. None of his descendants shall enter the assembly of Yahweh, right? Let's keep going. Then it says, not an Ammonite, not a Moabite shall enter into the congregation, even to their 10th generation. Now notice it doesn't say any of his descendants. It just says to the 10th generation. The last verse says none of them. Right? Let me look at this real quick. Deuteronomy 23:2. Because I want to compare this. I don't want to just use the English. I want to use the Hebrew. So it says, even to his 10th generation shall not enter the congregation. And then even they shall not enter to the congregation of the Lord forever. Okay, so never mind. They both basically say word for word the same thing. But the point that I'm trying to show you is that Deuteronomy chapter 23 and verse 2 is not specifically only talking about Ammonites and Moabites. It's specifically speaking of those who are born of a forbidden union, right? Now, if you're treating verse 3 as if it's a part of verse 2, then that's your argument. And, you're entitled to your argument, but I don't think that stands because, once again, you got to deal with Ruth, who is a Moabite.
That's right.
You got to deal with, the fact that we have people in the Bible who are Ammonites and Moabites who are around or in proximity of the children of Israel. Now, we know we broke the commandments, but it's going to be a hard way to explain that away out of the lineage of David, right? He said, use the Hebrew. What's the Hebrew? We just went over this, brother. We just went over this. The Hebrew meaning of the word Mamser does not mean children of Ammonites and Moabites. It does not mean children. The word Mamser does not mean children of mixed race. That's not what it means when you go into the word. So that don't even make no sense. It says one of illegitimate birth. We're going to walk through this very slow. What does illegitimate mean? It means it's not according to the law. Right? The only law that dictates who you can marry is the one we read already, Deuteronomy chapter 7. It tells the children of Israel who they cannot marry. So therefore, and there's other places in the scripture that tell the children of Israel who they are not to have sex with. So therefore, if you are not within the boundaries of that law, it's an illegitimate union, and the child you produce is an illegitimate child. It's very simple, brother. Now, I would extend that also to today. Esau got science today where men can have babies or whatever, the stuff they're trying to do now, right? To me, in my mind, that would be a Mamser, right? That would be a Mamser. Most High not dealing with that. That's an illegitimate union. You're creating a child that was never supposed to be brought into this earth. The Most High is not dealing with that, right? Hey, 20 visions, is that for me or Tribe of Judah? Because see, that would be my argument. I think that's a good point. 20 visions said you have to explain the ninth father of Pharez, of King David being a bastard. Right? You have to explain that. Once you get above Abraham, you got to explain everybody. Do you see how that logic don't make no sense? Once you get past Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth are all repopulating the earth with their wives. So how they gonna have children? And they're three separate nations. Shem is a separate nation. Ham and Japheth are all separate nations. Come on, brother, you got to make it make sense, right? Hey, so look, real quick, we're not gonna spend too much longer on this. I just want to make sure we hit the comments. True Talk said, see how the dudes lie? They keep going down the strong. It's all gonna tell you one where the Israelite father and Gentile mother is called a bastard.
I'm gonna pull it back up.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull it right back up just for True Talk. Since he True Talk, you know what I'm saying, man?
Yeah, that's right, man.
All right. Now I can either blow this up or I can keep it small, but you can read it clear as day right here, where it says, "Mamser, they bastard, child of incest."
Right. Now, why does it say incest, brother? Can y'all explain that? According to your position, why does it say incest? If I'm incorrect in saying it's a child of an illegitimate union, then how can you explain a child of incest in the Strongs being called a Mamser?
Can I add to that point that you got, one?
Yeah, please.
And the third verse that you want to use to correlate that with this, why you have Ammonite and Moabite, is why. Because when you read in Genesis about Lot and his daughters, they did what?
Right.
So that's why you even got that there where it says a child of incest. But that's not excluding anybody else from doing it. That's not saying if somebody else of another nation does it, it's not, it wouldn't be the same. You know what I'm saying? Because the Ammonites and the Moabites are in verse 3. Because you could still do that. That's the reason why the Most High gave commandment that you couldn't do that.
Hey, check this out. This the cut right here. Pull up Deuteronomy 23:8, same chapter. And we're gonna start at 7. We're gonna cut this real quick and easy. So the marriage, and go to the KJV if you can. Nah, watch this, True Talk. It's all good. Start at verse 7 if you don't mind, King.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23 and verse 7. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land.
Hold on. Watch this. Hey, Tribe of Judah and True Talk. It's all good. I'm not mad at y'all, bro. I'm trying to understand your position. So if one of the children of Israel marries an Edomite or an Egyptian, is that a Mamser, yes or no? It's just yes or no. Okay, so Tribe of Judah said yes. I want to see what True Talk say. Right? Let's see what True Talk say. We'll give him a second to type it in, right? Okay, bro, we can go back and look at whatever you talking about, but this verse right here literally about to smash all that. So it really don't matter. But we'll go back, right? We'll go back and look at it. Now we do want to put a caveat on this, right? The Strong's is not the end all be all.
Right.
It's really not. We don't even teach like that. We don't teach that the Strong's is the end all be all. But the reason I'm going to the Strong's in this situation, because this brother is leaning so hard on the Strong's definition, and the Strong's definition don't even say what they saying.
Nope.
Right? Now watch this. Go to read Deuteronomy 23 and verse 7 one more time, and then read verse 8. And we're gonna show you something.
Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land. The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of the Lord in their third generation.
Hold on. These are Mamsers, brother. They can't come in until the 10th generation. So it's a new law for those Mamsers, if they're Mamsers, right? It's a new law for them, but for the other Mamsers, a couple of verses up, they get 10 generations. They can never enter into the congregation of the Lord. You got to make it make sense, brother. That's all I'm saying. Right? It ain't even got to be like that for real. We ain't start this conversation. Y'all started this conversation. You're looking at the phenotype of a person and saying, I can look at this person and tell that's a Mamser.
Right.
You don't know if this person was mixed with the Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom. You don't know who they mixed with. You don't even know if they mix.
Right.
Like, it don't make no sense, bro. Like,
hey,
y'all wildin'.
That cracks me up every time.
Hey,
I've been getting that ever since I was a kid out of wine.
Hey, look, man.
Somebody, your mom or your dad. I'm like, nope, you tried it, but it ain't work.
Hey, respectfully, brother, don't go down this route. don't do this. Like, the rest of your argument is a fair argument. Other people feel the way you feel as far as the Mamser, you know what I'm saying, being of mixed descent. People feel that way, bro. But it's gonna be hard for you to prove who is and who is not of mixed descent, knowing the things that happen to our people, bro.
Thanks.
It's gonna be that's a rocky road to walk down. But stepping off that subject, right? You say you are unlearned. Mamser is from mum and zar. Okay. Now I'm gonna show you something really small in the Hebrew real quick, right? I'm gonna show you something really, really small in the Hebrew real quick. So when you look at H4464, the word origin is not from a root, a bilateral root of and another bilateral root of zar. Right? That's number one. This word says is from an unused word. Generally speaking, when words are from an unused word, they're either from foreign origin or the scholars are not sure of the root where it came from. Right? So it would be very, very difficult for you to prove that this word is from two different bilateral roots that are now put together. You're saying basically that this is a compound word.
Uh-oh.
And that's very difficult for you to prove, brother. You got to remember, Hebrew is not a language that exists by itself. Hebrew is a language that's related to other languages. Right. Ugaritic, Arabic. You would have to prove. It is so much to prove there. Like, I wouldn't go down that road, right? True Talk said, it says the children of them, Edomite and Egyptian, it never be mixed race. Okay, brother, you're not understanding. I'm gonna walk you through this. I'm gonna walk you through this, right? The children that are begotten of them. Notice, if it was speaking about, remember, the context is people that cannot enter the congregation. If it was speaking about Edomites, you wouldn't need to talk about their children. You would just say Edomites are not welcome into the congregation. If you put in a clause that says children that are begotten of them. This changes the context of what we're talking about. We're talking about unions, and when these unions can enter into the congregation. Go ahead, King.
Hey, he said he want the link, but he then says, where in the verse did it say that Egyptian and Edomites was mixed with Israelites? It just said the children of them. He just explained to you like a long time ago, like, yo, Moses' wife was an Egyptian.
Bro, it don't even matter. He already said Moses' children are Mamsers, bro.
Right. Yeah, that's what Tribe of Judah said. True talk. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he said that. Hey,
True talk. Tell us this real quick, just so we can be on the same page, King or Queen, whoever. If well, we don't use the word queen, but princess. But if we agree, then that means, are you also saying that the children of Moses and Ephraim and Manasseh are Mamsers?
And David.
And David are Mamsers? Yeah. Well, possibly Solomon. Some people have theories about that, but yeah, that would be a good question. Was she a Hittite? You know what I mean? Like, was Bathsheba a Hittite? She was married to Uriah the Hittite, right? We can have a scholarly conversation on that. Hold on real quick. Let's see. Right.
Hey, but brother want to hop on, and okay, he hopping on the live. So we gonna bring you up on the live. I would say for starters, because we just having a discussion. It does not have to go out of the range of where we're talking at right now. It ain't got to be disrespectful or anything like that. We're going to do everything, as Corinthians 14:40 says, decently and in order, and have a discussion. If we can do that, you know what I'm saying, I think we can come to a resolution with this, even if the resolution is to agree to disagree.
Hey, and maybe we'll start a further conversation. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So, hold on. Let's pull this up. Hey, shalom. What's going on, King?
Shalom. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, pull that Strong's back up, because we got to look at the whole matter. We can't just stop. So pull that Strong's back up, and let's go down to the Strong coordinate, if y'all don't mind. That's Deuteronomy 23, verse 2, where it's talking about the bastard and the mazar. And that word means multiple things. Like you said, an illegitimate birth means multiple things. It can mean incest. It can mean sex without marriage. It can mean a mixed child, because any of that is illegitimate birth. That's hoardism. Now go down to the Strong Concordance. Go down. Now we see it say Mongol race right there. Now pop it up a little bit where it say bastard. Now if you don't mind, read that out loud and let it speak for itself.
Go ahead.
From an unused root meaning to alienate, a mongrel, i.e. born of a Jewish father and a heathen mother.
That's a bastard. Drake is a bastard. Any child that got a Jewish father and a Gentile mother is not an Israelite. They are bastards.
Okay, now question. Let's just use that. Let's use that. And I once again, I acknowledge that that's what the Strong says.
Oh, okay, before you go there, I'm gonna correct y'all on another thing.
Well, hold on. One thing at a time.
Okay, right. Yeah. Right, go ahead.
Okay. Hey, hold on real quick. Queen of the South, give us some time. We're not really debating. We're just trying to make sure we see eye to eye on this thing, right? Paul did this, so ain't nothing wrong with it. Now, um, this is what I was gonna say. So let's just use the logic that a mamzer is a person of any mixed race, right? Anytime an Israelite man has sex with a woman that's not an Israelite, right?
It don't just mean that. Also, she can be an Israelite, but he can have
Right,
sex
right,
with
right.
her and not be married
Forbidden
with her.
union, right? Correct. I get that part.
So
I'm only
okay,
focusing on that one part. I'm only focusing
okay,
on this one section of the definition, right?
all right.
When did the Most High begin not liking that? When
When he
did
began not
that
liking that,
happen?
uh, when he told our forefathers, he told Jacob, uh, not to mix their seeds with the Canaanites.
Right, but then where did Jacob end up getting his wives from?
The
Was
Canaanites.
his wives of the children of Israel?
No, did his sons die because of that? Didn't the Most High kill his sons because his sons spilt the seed on the ground? And all his children that he had by her died. And it wasn't because how his seed was preserved through an Israelite woman. If you remember the story, when he was supposed to give his son to the Israelite woman, but they all died, and she was a harlot, and she fooled him into having children. That's where his seed continued, with the Israelite woman, not with the Canaanite women. All of them was died. The Most High killed them off.
Okay, so but what I'm asking is where did Jacob's wives come from?
He had multiple wives, but the wives they talked about came from Canaan.
Right.
And I'm not here to debate the sins of our forefathers, because we don't copy the sins of our forefathers. We obey what the Most High says.
Of course.
Period.
Of course.
It
But
don't matter what they
but
say.
that
They
would
did
make
lot
the
more.
whole nation of Israel mamzers.
Right.
No,
Yes.
you can by the third generation. There's a such thing called third generation. You can blurt yourself back in.
But that was the first. They were the first generation mamzers. If that's the definition, they would be first generation mamzers. That's all I'm saying.
Who was members? Because remember, his sons died. He had pure Israelite children.
Right. But all his children were Israelites, but his wife was not an Israelite. And
Yeah,
neither were her handmaids.
How you know that?
Because Israelite means that you're a child of Jacob.
Right.
And he didn't marry his children. So he didn't marry Israelites. He didn't marry people from the chosen bloodline.
No, let's get this straight. He had a Canaanite wife. Those children died. The children he had by the Israelite woman lived. They was not bastards. They was by the Israelite woman, remember?
Where did the Israelite
That he was
woman
supposed to
come
give
from?
to his son. That he was going to give to his son. She was the prostitute that threw him.
I see the disconnect. So, Boaz, can you pull up family tree? Just say Jacob in the Bible, family tree. Right? I just want to make sure we're saying the same thing, because I get what you're saying. I really do. And I've heard that argument. I just don't hold that position. So
It's not an argument, it's biblical truth.
Oh, I've heard your stance. Let's say that. I've heard your stance. And then Tribe of Judah, I'm gonna leave that on the page till we get to it, right? Talking about a czar. All right.
You want this one?
Now let's get this clear. So Abraham told his sons not to marry the Canaanites, to get themselves an Israelite woman who dare not marry outside the race. We clear on that, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Correct. Okay. So the only thing I'm asking though is, at what point in time? So basically, okay, no, I think I get what you're saying. What you're saying is anytime. Anytime our forefathers was commanded not to marry somebody, if they married that person, that child will be considered a mamzer.
If there was a Gentile, yeah.
Okay. Because I was going to say, because Abraham married Sarah, right? And we know that Sarah was his stepsister, or the way he describes it is his sister, right? So that right there is not actually permissible by the law. So by that definition alone, Isaac will be a mamzer.
Right,
And-
but the law was not given then.
Okay. I'm just walking with you.
Well, the
And
law
then-
was given, but the law was not clear until on Mount Sinai. A lot of things that they did on Mount Sinai, the Most High had to clear it up. Okay, y'all can't do this no more. Because remember, Jacob married two sisters. In the law, you ain't supposed to marry two sisters. So certain things that they did that the law was not fully established on Mount Sinai. When the Father fully established things, now we gotta move accordingly in order how the Most High says. We can't go back before the law was established and say, look at what our ancestors did. So I'm gonna do the same.
right.
Unless we talking about doing righteousness after them, not after the wickedness.
Okay. So, but I'm just walking down the path of logic real quick, right? So Isaac married Rebekah, and Rebekah was not from the chosen bloodline, right? Hey, Shalom, Adawan, Shalom. And so,
What you mean?
hold on real quick. Hold on real quick. So we dealing with the conversation of a mamzer, right? We was teaching. The brother got in the comments. Brother Tribe of Judah got in the comments and was like, "Oh, you know, Boaz is a mamzer, this, that, and the third, because he was born from a mixed family or whatever like that." Even though he can't prove that, right? That's number one. Even though he can't prove it, he don't know that. But he was just saying it based off of what he saw. And that brought us into the conversation of mamzers. So right now, the brother is saying that the definition of a mamzer is anytime the children of Israel have a child with anybody outside of the children of Israel, that's yes, because he light skinned, right? And that's the definition of a mamzer. So just to catch you up.
Not only that, but also if they can have a child with an Israelite, but if they're not married to that Israelite, that's an illegitimate birth. That's also a mamzer. Or if they have a baby out of incest, that's also a mamzer.
Okay, and I'm rocking with the second. Yeah, Con, we need you on this one, Adawan. So look, I'm rocking with the second definition, right? Second definition that he said was an illegitimate union that produces a child. That child would be Judah stupid. That child will be a mamzer, right? And we believe that. So if you have an illegitimate union, you married to somebody that the law says you're not supposed to be married to, and you have children with that person, that child will be a mamzer. Yes, we believe that. But as far as anybody outside of the children of Israel, which is why I have up this chart, because Abraham married Sarah, Isaac married Rebekah, who was not of his bloodline. Jacob married 4 women, or 3 women, had children with 4 women, and none of those women was of the chosen bloodline. So
that's a lie. All those women you named was Israelites in Hebrew.
None
they was of the bloodline.
Hold on.
And
go ahead, Boaz.
Leah, Zilpah, Bilhah, and Rachel are all Israelites.
Right.
From who?
From what's his what's his who was his uncle? What's his uncle name? Jacob uncle that he went to
Laban.
From Laban brother from his side. That's where first of all, Rachel and Leah are his daughter. He's Jacob's brother, and then the two maids, they also came from the bloodline of the Israelites. They was the maid of that says in Jubilee, I can't remember, but they was the maid of his uncle or something, or one of her brothers, sister that became their maid. But they also were Israelites.
When was Israelites established?
When Jacob name was changed.
Oh, so that was before Leah, Zilpah, Bilhah, and Rachel then.
Right.
So that wouldn't make them Israelites then.
Nah, it was like they just wouldn't call it back then. Come on,
No,
we not
brother.
gonna play these here 9 games. We know they was Israelites.
Brother, what are we talking about? Okay, all right, hold on.
Yeah, what are we talking about? We
Listen.
talking about when Jacob's name was changed, that now they was considered Israelites, but before then they were considered Hebrews from the line the Hebrews. But we know they was Israelites. We know that.
No.
We know that.
So Jacob married his daughters. So Jacob married his daughter. If those women are Israelites, then those are Jacob's daughters.
What, say it again?
If if those women, look at the chart on the screen, right? Leah, Zilpah, Bilhah, Rachel. If those women are all Jacob's daughters, then they're still producing mamzers.
What you mean they Jacob's daughters? They're his wife, Leah.
I know they his wives. You said that they his daughters. You said they Israelites.
No, they his cousins.
Okay.
That's his uncle's daughters. Are they not his uncle's daughters?
Brother, I'm not disagreeing with that, but that don't make them Israelites. So the word Israelite.
Let's not get into mess. Let's take the Israelite off of it. They Hebrews.
Okay, yes, they are Hebrews.
Yep.
But that don't mean anything because Esau is a Hebrew.
Oh.
So Esau, Ishmael is a Hebrew.
There you go.
So what are we talking about? So that means so now you're changing it to as long as you marry a Hebrew is not a mamzer no more.
Right.
Okay, so that wasn't
Esau
fair.
spoiled his seed. Esau spoiled his seed and mix himself. So if you mix with Enoch's seed, you mixing with a Gentile.
You said Enoch?
Yeah, he said Enoch that time.
not Enoch.
Esau.
Okay.
Esau became one with children. Esau became one with the white folks.
All right, so look,
his seed.
Real quick.
How did he spoil his seed? How did he spoil his seed?
I'm not even sure what the question is, brother.
The scripture says he spoiled his seed. The scripture says that Esau, which is Hebrew, mixed with the Canaanites and spoiled his seed, mixed with the Canaanites so much that he became one with them.
With the Canaanites? You mean with Kittim?
Yeah, with Rome. The Canaanites also mixed in there with the Rome. They all mix.
No. So all right, we're gonna stop right here. Okay. I'm gonna let you make some more points if you want to, but I want to leave that point because
I just prove my case now. It's either y'all.
No, hold on. I just want to finish this thought real quick.
Y'all guys not teaching these lies.
Let me finish this thought.
Now,
hold on.
You
believe
Hold your peace. Hold
your peace, brother. We gonna deal with you. Hold your peace. So I want to ask you a question, and then I'm gonna step back real quick, right? Because I want to just know if you agree. Do you also agree that the word mamzer is a compound Hebrew word?
What that mean? Break it down to me.
Okay, so when we pulled up the word mamzer earlier, who was that? Tribe of Judah said that mamzer is a compound Hebrew word made up of 2 different Hebrew words, right? And I'm asking, do you also believe that, or do you think mamzer is?
I'm not sure about that. I just know what mamzer means. I'm not sure about that compound and all that.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair. So I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna let Adawan Eliel ask you a couple of questions because I think he want to guide
Yeah,
you.
if y'all couldn't deal with me, let's see can he deal with me.
Brother, you been cooked. We just letting everybody get some at this point.
And it ain't me boasting, it's the scripture.
Hey, but it's cool, bro. I'm not.
The scripture. It's the scripture. The Most
Hey,
High
no
get the
problem.
glory.
No problem. I'm gonna stop. I shouldn't have said that. But come on.
Nah, bro. I mean, a lie's a lie. A lie don't tell who tell it.
Yeah,
But
they
the
don't.
truth
It don't.
is on camera. The truth
Yeah.
on camera.
I found. Hey, but I will say this though, man. I did learn
What
something
is the
new.
basket?
I
What is
learned
the
something new
basket?
today. You taught us that Leah and Bilhah and Zilpah was Israelites. So I'm happy we learned that.
Yeah, okay. Run with that. Run with it.
All right. So go
You
ahead.
know
Go
I'm
ahead.
all
Make
right.
your point. Make your point real quick, and we gonna address it. Go ahead.
Talking to me?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, now let's go back to the scripture where you said we must love Esau and the Egyptians all the way up to the third generation they can come in the congregation. Because you making up things that the scripture did not say. The scripture never said those was mixed Israelites. Let's read in comprehension. It said the children of them. Who is the them? The them is the Edomites and the Egyptians. It never said anything about them mixing with Israelites or being bastards.
Okay.
So a pure Gentile can get into the congregation before a bastard, a mixed Israelite.
What the hell?
What the hell? All that laughing and giggling do not change the fact that y'all ain't got no answers.
I ain't gonna laugh.
Y'all
I got.
goofy.
I do
Don't
have
be
a question.
goofy.
I
Be
got.
a man. Gird up your garden and be a man. Quit all that laughing.
Hey, did he just mention Deuteronomy 23?
Yeah, he did. Hold on. I got a question. True
All right.
talk.
All right, another question.
Who are the Edomites and Egyptians with in this context of Deuteronomy? Is it just them alone?
What you mean? It said they Egyptian and Edomites.
Mm-hmm.
You talking about is there anybody else included in that?
Yeah, like is there any other group of people around during this time when they're being mentioned here?
After this,
course.
Boaz, I'm gonna jump in if that's cool.
God.
Of course, there's more people, more nations.
Okay, who are those nations that's there?
There's many nations. I'm not about to run down the nations.
All right.
There's many nations on the earth. It's not just the Egyptian and Edomites or the Amorites. There's many nations. But it
Can I
point out
jump in
those
here?
two specific nations. It says of those two Pacific nations that they children can come into the third generation. It didn't say the bastard. It didn't say the Amorites, but because before that, it said the Amorites could not come in forever. So the Most High set an order. You know how we need to do in the hip hop culture, how we need to gatekeep. The Most High is gatekeeping who can do and who can come in, and what limit certain people have in it in here.
That's real.
That's all the Most High doing.
All right, let me ask you a question. One last question. I don't want all y'all getting there. In Deuteronomy 1:1, who is the Most High talking to?
Deuteronomy 1:1.
Yes.
I have to go back and look at it, but I believe he's talking to the Israelites.
All right. You got it out of all y'all.
All right. So I'm not gonna ask you no elementary questions. Because you seem like that might be too hot for you any damn way. So, what I'm gonna say in a little bit of time that I'm gonna be on here. For one, you mentioned Deuteronomy 23 before we get into the Mamsers. And Jonathan or Boaz, can one of y'all pull up that Mamser thing in Blue Letter Bible for me?
Blue Letter.
Yeah, just pull up that scripture or whatever in Blue Letter Bible. In Deuteronomy. So, but when we go to Deuteronomy 23, right? For one, what people have to understand about that is things changed, right? Like the brother Boaz was trying to explain. That was in context for when we were in the land. We had just come out of Egypt. The reason he asked you what nations were around us in the context of that scripture is because there were two specific nations that came out of Egypt with us during the Exodus, right? That weren't Israelites. They were the Egyptians themselves, the ones that were cleaving to us, the ones that we married, the ones that we had children with, that were related to our children, that were cousins to our wives, all that type of crap, right? They came, and you know what? Esau was there too. So we had Edomite wives that were pulling up, right? Some of the women had Edomite husbands, all type of different things that was happening, right? So we were told not to abhor the Edomite, right, and the Egyptian, because we were a stranger in their land and they're our brothers, right? Problem is, when we get to the book of Amos, which is also in the Old Testament before the New Testament, right, to prove where we are once we get into the New Testament, Amos explains to us that, well, there's some things that the Egyptians have done since that ruling was given in Deuteronomy 23, and there's some things that Esau has done since that ruling was given in Deuteronomy 23 that have made them now, enemies of the Most High, that he's sanctioned for captivity, and a former brother that has now broken the brotherly covenant and pursued his brother with the sword. So now there's going to be vengeance taken upon the house of Edom, right, by the hand of Israel, according to the Most High, like it says in Ezekiel chapter 25, verse 14, also in the Old Testament. We could read that if a brother wants to read that. And well, the whole book of Isaiah and a lot of script, I think it's Jeremiah 49 or something close
Can I
to
ask
it.
you this, brother?
Explains. Hold on, let me finish. Explains that there's going to be a punishment for Egypt and the nations close to Egypt, such as Ethiopia or Cush as well, right? They will be going into captivity. Isaiah 43 specifically explains that, right? Isaiah, what's that? Exodus 11 and 7 even explains that there's no difference between Israel, but that there's a difference between Israel and the dog or Egyptians. So that's also something that has to be understood. Something in Exodus, right, during the time of the Exodus, explains that there's a certain way we're supposed to look at Egyptians and that there's a difference between us. But then people look at Deuteronomy, which is the second law, which explains things that come from Exodus, on how it's different than it's a completely separate way that we should be treating it. But the Bible backs up what Exodus 11 and 7 explains with the rest of the scriptures we have in the Old Testament and the New Testament for that matter, right? So that would be my answer for Deuteronomy 23. As far as Mamser is concerned, could you scroll down a little bit? Like the brother said, it's 2 words, but I think you mentioned this earlier, right? You mentioned bastard, child of incest, illegitimate child. Notice that's all the first definition, right? So a bastard, in the case of the Bible, would be a child that is a child of incest, so to speak, right? But it's also a child that doesn't have a father. Like Esau is considered a bastard son of the Most High, right? Or a man without a father. It's he's actually called that in I think it's Amos, right? Or Zechariah 9 and 6 or something like that, right? That the bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, they shall take away the pride of the Philistines. So because Esau is the brother of Jacob, who's the father of the Israelites, but the promise went from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob instead of Esau, the Most High considers Esau a bastard, which is why he was considered a bastard in that scripture. So in a case, you could call Esau a mamzer if that's really what it means. But then we have incest child, right? Which would actually be the original definition of the word mamzer, right? Incest child, in the definition of such, comes from
Wait a minute. What did it say? Esau was a bastard?
Sir, shut up while I'm talking. Thank you. We were
Hold up,
respectful
don't
and we
tell
let
me
you
to
do your
shut up.
rant. Hold on. We were respectful and we let you do your rant. That's the second time you've interrupted me, and I've asked you to do that. I was called on to make something clear. Allow me to do that before you continue to speak. You're on our platform right now, right? I'm not trying to be rude, but you are by interrupting me in the midst of my speech, which the Bible says not to do. We let you rant, right? You got to finish everything you were saying, and none of it made sense, but nobody interrupted you. I'm teaching right now. Let me explain, and then you can speak afterwards. Thank you.
Whole ass nigga.
Okay. Then I unmute him, and he calls me a hoe ass nigga.
Don't be disrespectful.
So
you're not being disrespectful. Don't be disrespectful. Let's be righteous men.
So interrupting me isn't disrespectful.
I had a question. How else I'm supposed to ask a question?
But just
I'm
like a
like,
student in a
sir,
class, when you have a question and the teacher's talking, don't you got to wait for the teacher to acknowledge you, sir?
you not
You
my
can't
teacher.
just talk while the teacher's speaking,
We
right?
two men talking. We two men talking. If I want,
Us being two men talking don't mean you get to be another man that interrupts me, dumbass nigga, since you want to go there. Now I'm going to finish what I was saying. Now, can we pull back up the Mamser thing? Yeah, that's a bit. We could do it on the blue letter. Or we could do it on Bible Hole. That's fine too. So, I can match energy with energy. The Bible says to make the forehead hard, right? Against theirs. And I will. Don't play with me. You don't know who I am. I'm a fiery gad. I will burn your little ass up, nigga, on the stage. Straight like that. So, incest. Child of incest, right? A child of incest would be an example of Lot. And I think the brothers mentioned this. I don't know for sure, though, because I wasn't on the whole time. I got hit by a truck yesterday at work. So, but, yeah. It's child of incest, right? So a child of incest is an example of Lot's kids, right? Lot would be the cousin of Abraham that I think the non-truth talk brother was trying to explain about earlier. You couldn't remember the name, right?
bro.
Lot.
Talk too much. Make it seem real.
Lot is the brother who slept with his daughters, right? The night that they got him drunk. They thought they was gonna be the last people because of what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah, right?
Get
and
to the point, whole ass nigga.
So, okay, I'm gonna mute you again, whole ass nigga. So, child of incest would be an example of that. Those would be the examples of a mamzer, right? That would be the first example of such. That's where the definition in the word actually comes from. That's what the meaning of it was, right? Bastard came in later on by Strong's, right? Illegitimate child came in later on by Strong to give illegitimacy to things that, you know, Christians would want to back up in their arguments and stuff like that. So, but like I said, the etymology of the word mamzer is actually a child of incest, and it goes back to, you know, Lot's children not being able to get into the covenant even until their 10th generation. That's what it comes from. Has nothing to do with a bastard child because, well, there was a time when if Esau would have got right, he still would have kind of been allowed in, even though he gave his birthright away, right? He's not completely because now he's pursued his brother with the sword and ended the brotherly covenant and did a bunch of atrocities, so it's wrath for his behind, right? But that was also ordained as well. Then we have the illegitimate child. We know that this is false and it was never the case because there's a lot of Israelites that had what they would call illegitimate children with heathen, right? Moses would be a very prominent one from this time period, him being the man that gave the law of Deuteronomy and, you know, was the main speaker and the main character in the book of Exodus, which, you know, the Deuteronomy 23 comes from and the word mamzer comes from. So that being the case, Moses having two children that were still considered Israelite Levites that got to partake in the Levite rituals and all that type of stuff, right? Which is a very sacred thing. Brothers died for touching the Ark of the Covenant, which is only supposed to be touched by Levites. So it's not like anybody would be able to take that office, you know, likely, and they didn't get killed. So that being the fact of the matter, we know that illegitimate child can't be mamzer. That's not one of the original definitions. That's something that was inserted there because, once again, we have a lot of examples in the Bible of people who had what they would consider illegitimate children by non-Israelites, right? We're not talking women because those children wouldn't be Israelites, but the men who had children with heathen women, those are most definitely still Israelites. Therefore, that's why, you know, people like Moses' kids, Solomon's kids, got to partake in, you know, the things that Bible, like the Bible speaks of. So that's what I would say in regards to mamzer. So now we can let the dude talk. He's probably gonna call me a hoe ass nigga. So let's get with it. If he's still here.
Hold on, real quick before he come on. Hey, look, we got families watching, man. We ain't trying to do all that. So I'm gonna bring you back up, but let's just have the conversation about the scripture, man. We try not to. Yeah, I took him down, Adawan. I took him down. Adawan Kanal asked me to take him down because of the language. So I don't mind bringing you back up, but if you go into the language, I'm pulling you back down. Like when we was talking, we wasn't even doing all that. You know what I mean? So let's keep it cordial. All right, you got it.
Yeah, no doubt. Because when me and you was talking, you never disrespected me, bro. You never told me to shut up. So we got to be mans about this. I don't take disrespect. If you disrespect, I'm gonna disrespect. But we can respect each other and be mans about it. But moving on, when you talk too much, you make it sound real. Everything you said was just a bunch of gibberish. When the Israelites came out of Egypt, two people came out. What was those two people? It says Israel came out and a mixed multitude came out with them. It did not consider them Israel. It called them a mixed multitude. And it kept
If
that
you listen,
theme
I
all
explained
through
who the
the
mixed
Bible.
multitude was. You was too busy
Yeah, I
calling
know.
me
I heard
names.
you.
I didn't hear it.
No,
I said,
I heard what you said.
okay. So
But
why'd you just
they,
ask that question if you heard what I said?
because I want to let you know they was not Israelites. They was considered a mixed multitude.
I didn't say it was Israelites. I said it was Israel. I said it was Edom, and I said it was Egypt.
I
The
never
mixed
said you.
multitude part comes
I'm
from
just
the
making it
Egypt
clear.
and the Edom being there, right?
So
And I
do you
explained how they
consider
were a
those
mixed
the
multitude.
Israelites?
Literally, the multitude of those three nations mixed together. They had children and everything. There's even an example of a man who was a son of an Egyptian man and an Israelite woman who got stoned to death for picking up sticks. Do you know
Was he
about that
called
situation?
Israelite? Yeah, I know about that situation. Was he
He
called
wasn't
an
called an Israelite.
Israelite?
I never said he was called an Israelite once again.
I'm just asking the question. I'm just asking the question. So are those people that was mixed, was they considered Israelites or was they considered a mixed multitude,
If they
as we
come
see
from
like
a
in one of
son,
the definitions, a
so
bastard?
mixed multitude, the term mixed
It's the
multitude isn't talking
definition right
about
here.
an individual. The term mixed multitude isn't talking about an individual's race. The term mixed multitude is talking about everybody that came out of Egypt, sir. What I was
No,
speaking of as
sir.
far as
It
the
says the
people, to
Israelites
answer your
came out.
second question, now the audience isn't gonna hear you if you keep talking while I'm talking. You asked the question, I'm trying to answer it. Okay,
Go
so
ahead, bro. I wasn't
mixed
finished talking.
multitude is about but the whole body of people that came out of Egypt, which would be the Israelites, right? The innumerable
Okay,
number.
so you saying the
It would be
Israelites?
the
Okay, stop right there.
Egyptians. Wait. No. You stop right there. I'm still talking. That's disrespectful. The
Okay,
Israelites, the 12 tribes of Judah, the 12 tribes of Israel, since you don't know who the Israelites are, the 12 tribes, the 12 sons of Jacob and their children, right? That's the
uh,
Israelites. Then we have Egypt,
listen, keep on.
right? So we have
Right.
Egyptians, the sons of Egypt who were married to Israelite women. Their children would not be Israelites, they would be Egyptians. Now we have Edomites.
How
They
about
would
the
be
children that was?
Edomite. Wait, sir, let me finish. Then we have
Hurry
Edomites.
up.
Those would be Edomite men. I'm trying to. You keep interrupting me, dummy. Those would be Edomite men that are there to,
That goes to disrespect.
shepherd their wives that are Israelites and their children that are coming in. I'm speaking slow because I said this already and you didn't seem to understand it. You don't seem to understand what we're saying mixed multitude is. Mixed
I
multitude is the
understand
group of
exactly.
people,
Okay, can I talk now?
and the Mamsers would be non-incest children, but childs of incest, which are non-people that we're speaking of here. Nobody in the in the memorable group, in the mixed multitude of the people that come from the Exodus are considered Mamsers from the
Yeah, bro.
standpoint of
Put that chapter up about the mixed multitude. It's okay. Are you done now?
because as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, there weren't any Moabites or Ammonites that were coming out of Egypt with us, right?
Sir, can I speak?
Go ahead.
Are you done, sir? Okay. So
I was
to
done. I
my
was trying to make it
understanding,
clear because you didn't seem to
I
understand
just
English the first time.
there you go talking over me. Okay, sir. Now listen carefully. I'm just gonna ask a yes or no question. I don't need for you to go on a whole rant. Just a yes or no question. From my understanding, you saying the mixed multitude include Israelites and everybody else.
Yes, if everybody else is Edom and
Okay,
Egypt.
let's go to that verse where it says Israel came out and also came out with Israel, making a distinct a difference. It was the Israelites, and then with the Israelites was a mixed multitude, showing two different groups, showing that that mixed
I
multitude
explained the two
was
different
not
groups.
including. All right, let's move on from that because you seem not understand.
The Israelites are
Now,
the 12 tribes of Israel. The mixed multitude is the people that came with them that are the descendants of the Edomites and the Egyptians. They can't be descendants of the Israelites if they're mixed multitude, and those are the people that came with them. That would mean it would be all Israelites that came. There's no reason to say a mixed multitude. They're all the same people. I thought that would be common sense, but I explained it
now,
2
I
different
said,
times
no, they
who
was
the mixed
bastard.
people
They
are.
was mixed
It's
multitude.
Israelites mixed with either Egyptians or Edomites. That's the mixture. That's it.
I agree with
You
you
get
on
it
that.
or not?
What you said
Am I
again?
speaking English in the chat? Put a 7 if English is what I'm speaking and you understood what I said. Go ahead, brother. I just want to make sure they understand because apparently there's a
I want to
disconnect
understand.
between you and what I'm saying.
Listen. I want to understand you clearly. I want to understand you clearly. So you
I'm speaking as clear as I can.
Let me talk. Let me talk. So are you saying the mixed multitude are mixed Israelites? That's all what you saying, mixed multitude or mixed Israelites that mix with Egyptian and the Israelites that mix with Egyptian and Edom. That's what you're saying that the mixed multitude was?
That's what I'm saying. Mostly Egyptians,
Okay,
obviously.
I
Yeah.
agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. They were separated from the Israelites. Even though they was mixed, they was not considered Israelites. Even though they father probably were Israelite and their mama was Egyptian or Edomite, they still was not classified as Israelites. Now, brother, do you understand clearly? Because I'm trying to get a clear understanding. Do
Hold on.
you understand what I'm
They
saying?
were not
Hold
classified
on.
Israelites only if their father was not an Israelite.
Right.
That's why it says the Israelites and the mixed multitude. The people who were sons of Egyptian fathers got to come with their fathers. That's why we saw, like I said, the example that we have of the Egyptian child that was killed. His mother was said to be an Israelite. If I'm not mistaken, he even told you her tribe. It might have been Benjamin. So I'm saying it explains things like that on purpose to give you insight on who's there. There's an Egyptian son from an Egyptian father and an Israelite mother. That's constituting the mixed multitude. Then we have people like Moses and his kids. He's a man who's from the tribe of Levi, which is Israel, and he got with a Cushite, which is a heathen from Africa, a Hamite, right? His sons would not be a mixed multitude. They would be considered Israelites. That's what I was trying to explain to you
I
earlier.
disagree.
Now I just
You
gave
know
you
what?
2 people examples. It can't get no clearer than that.
Yeah,
But
and hold
the
on real
Bible
quick.
gonna make it clear.
Hold on real quick. To untangle the conversation and to make it clear for the people. So I want to backtrack for a quick second. Based on your definition of Mamser, you would have to say that Moses's children would not be allowed into the congregation.
Right.
Was they?
And what he's showing you is that they were obviously allowed into the congregation. And
Show me that
when Aaron and Miriam spoke against Moses's wife, the Most High had a problem with that.
Right.
So only thing we showing you is that can't apply the way that you are trying to apply it. That's all we trying to say.
He wanted us to show him in the Bible. Can I read the scripture, brother?
Really, he had a problem. Really, he had a problem with them speaking against Moses. He said, "How dare you speak against my prophet Moses?"
All right, let me
really,
read you a scripture right quick.
The conversation was about his wife, but really, they were speaking against Moses, and no, his children was not allowed. We don't hear about Moses' children.
All right, now, hold on. I'm about to show you that you don't know what you're talking about. This is First Chronicles chapter 23. I'm gonna start at verse 15. First Chronicles 23 and verse 15. First, I'm gonna start at 23 and 1 so we understand the context of the scripture here, so we know why there's names being brought up. So the brother don't say we just bringing up things for no reason. And then we can look up also who Moses' children are and see if he has any children other than the children with the heathen ladies. Okay? All right. Now, First Chronicles chapter 23, verse 1. It says, "So when David was old and full of days, he made Solomon his king over Israel, and he gathered together the princes of Israel with the priests and the Levites." Now the Levites were numbered from the age of their years 30 and upward, and their number of their poles man by man was 30 and 8,000. Now they're about to explain to you the children of the main people of Levi, right? Once we get down to verse 15, it tells you the sons of Moses were Gershom and Eleazar, right? So it's explaining to you Moses' kids as if they're a part of the congregation, sir. So for you to say it never mentioned Moses' kids, this speaking against him and da-da-da-da. No, his whole line is included in the congregation. It tells you right here when it's explaining the Levites under the house of David that's going to be progressed and moved on to the house of Solomon, right? By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. First Chronicles 23. You should read it because apparently you have.
Hey, and check this out too. Check this out too. The Gershomites are people who came from Gershom.
Like Gershom is the son of a Cushite and a Levite, which according to your definition would be an illegitimate child, which would be a Mamser, according to what you and Strong say. But the etymology of Mamser is incest, baby. That's why you don't see no Moabites in here, right? Ruth isn't in the book. Okay, I knew.
Now, okay, so let's get this clear. So you saying that these children that our ancestors had, I'm saying that they was mixed and they was bastards.
Okay, and we just showed you that a bastard, or first of all, bastard means a son without a father. So we see Moses, mixed bastard don't mean the same thing, for one. So you need to check your definition, etymology, or Oxford Dictionary,
You
or
just
something
read
like
the
that.
definition.
I just read you the definition of not
said that a bastard,
mixed and bastard. I read you two mixed people, right? Bastard, again, I gave you a definition of bastard, Zechariah 9:6. It tells you a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod. Ashdod is in Israel. It shall take away the pride of the Philistines. We just saw that prophecy come to pass. Israel is kicking Gaza's ass right now. Right?
Go to Ezekiel chapter 9. Can you do that for me, brother?
You want me to go to Zechariah chapter 9?
I want you to go to Ezra chapter 9.
Okay, Ezra chapter 9. Before we go to Ezra chapter 9, can you admit that you were wrong about First Chronicles chapter 23 and Moses' sons not being mentioned in the Bible? Because you made that prominent statement a minute ago.
I didn't say they wasn't mentioned in the Bible. I said they wasn't mentioned in the priesthood.
You know that, okay, well, can you mention that you was wrong about that? Because the first sentence says, second sentence, and he gathered all together the princes of Israel with the priests and Levites. And here it's not mentioning the princes of Israel. It says verse 3, now the Levites were numbered. So it's mentioning all the Levites. And when we get to a very prominent Levite in verse 15, Moses, his two sons, right? 14, now concerning Moses, the man of God, his sons were named of the tribe of Levi. That's verse 14. In verse 15, it gives you their names and his sons, Gershom and Eleazar, right? Who's their mama? A Cushite. What would that be? What you say, an illegitimate marriage. But they're numbered with the Levites and the priests. So what would you say about that?
They still was a bastard. I was wrong about that, but they still are considered a bastard.
So how would you consider a bastard if their father's Moses?
This was before the law was given, right? This was before the law was given, right?
What does bastard mean? How is it before the law was given?
No.
This is after. Me and the brother always talked about what bastard means.
Yeah, but no, this is not before the law was given.
What does bastard mean? Not the definition of Mamser. What's the definition of bastard?
So let me get this straight. Did Moses have his kids before the law was given or after the law was given? When Moses stood on the Sinai and gave the law, his kid was already given birth, right?
Brother, stop. This is getting worse.
Listen, we got to be truthful now.
Okay, but hold on.
About that.
Yeah, but hold on. Watch this.
I got something after that, Jonathan, when you finish.
Okay, Con. When did Moses write everything down? He wrote everything down after he had those children because that's when he met the Most High. What are we talking about? That's what I'm saying, brother. Right. Every time we make another point.
That was after the law was given, right?
Okay, but hold on a second.
No,
hold on. Before you continue, wait, because I have a response too. So he said after the law was given. Okay, but that doesn't really matter. You want to know why it doesn't matter?
I
Because we
mean,
have
before
two.
the law, yeah, he had his kids before the law was given.
Okay, he had his kids before the law was given. It still doesn't matter. I'm about to explain why. We have two reasons why.
Okay.
First reason why is because we have an example of another man who comes from a heathen, right? That was also numbered amongst the children of Israel. I believe his name was Absalom, right? Wasn't his mama Amorite? If I'm not
Right.
mistaken. So Amorites aren't of the tribe tribe of Israel. They're not Israelites. They're from a nation that tried to kill Israel, right?
What that got to do with
They're
us
from a
following
nation.
after what the Most
So-
High said?
Hold on a second. And the second example would be, well, so Moses, though he gave a law and had the kids
This
afterwards,
why we went into
this
captivity.
thing in Chronicles, hold on, this thing I just read in Chronicles was given after
Because
the law,
sins
right?
of our
So this
forefathers.
numbering, wait a minute, sir. So this numbering in Chronicles, if it mattered that he had them before the law was given, this numbering in Chronicles wouldn't have numbered them as Levites, right? There's no reason to number them as Levites if they was born before, if they can't be, like if there's a law that's supposed to keep them out of it, they would just not be Israelites. He can't break the law
Nah,
just
yeah,
because
they
had them
because that
before.
was before
The law would still
Yes,
be
they
in line
could.
to them. For example, before the law of the Feast of Tabernacles was given, or the Feast of First Fruits, we still have evidence in the Bible of not only Cain and Abel keeping the first fruits, but also Abraham and them keeping the first fruits, right? So
Right.
we still had laws in the Bible that were given before Moses gave the law, right?
Right.
So, and then
And
we have
one of them was
Tobit
not to
saying
sleep
that
with the
it's
other
wait. We have Tobit saying that it's sin and it's whoredom to marry somebody not of your own tribe. Yet Solomon got to do it and Moses got to do it, and both of their kids were named of the children of Israel. So
Right.
it has to mean something
Okay,
if you don't
okay. I'm
understand
glad
what it
Hey,
you
means.
said that.
It's not
I'm
my
glad
Hey,
you
and
fault.
real
said
quick,
that. Now, let me ask you this.
I'm
Hold
gonna
up,
let you
before
make your
let me
closing
ask you this.
statement, but let me say this real quick because we got to wrap up. We got like 5 more minutes and we got to wrap up. So I'm gonna let you make your closing points and then jump back on
Right,
next week or jump back on Monday or whatever, and we can finish this up. All right, go ahead.
right, all right. All right, now, everything that you mentioned was what our ancestors did. And you said, was they allowed to do that? Yes, they are allowed to sin. The Most High does not stand in the way of anybody sinning. But the question is, do we supposed to obey what our ancestors did or what the Most High said? Our ancestors has committed many sins. Yes, they mixed themselves with the other nations, with the Most High told them not to. That's why we went into captivity. We're not supposed to continue that. What does the law say? The law says not to do that. So let's listen to what the Most High says and not say, ooh, our ancestors slept with the other nations and the Most High allowed for them to do it. The Most High is not going to stand in people away from sinning. He's going to allow for them to sin. But what thus says the Most High? If we're going to be real, we got to go after what thus says the Most High. And the Most High from the beginning, like you said, our ancestors warned them does not sleep with the other nation. They still slept with the other nation. Does not go and fornicate with the other nation. They slept with the other nation. These children will be considered bastards and watered down. And yes, the Most High still can use the bastard. The Most High can use anybody that's willing to serve him, but that don't make it right. And after the third generation, yes, the bloodline can be cleaned up. But that don't mean we go out there and disobey the Most High. When y'all get time, I know y'all said we out of time, but I want y'all to read Zechariah chapter 9, and it talk about the nation sinning for sleeping with the other nations. And it named the nations. And it named the Egyptians and all the nations. Should we go there and read it?
Hold on. So we'll allow you to go to it to make the point, but like I said, we got to close it up. But I do want to say this, right? I don't know if you're hearing this, but by saying on one hand that cleaning the bloodline of a Mamser, how can you clean the bloodline of a Mamser if they're never allowed into the congregation? Even after their 10th generation, that statement means you cannot clean the bloodline. There is no coming back.
They
If
not
you
getting in.
that's what it hold on.
I'm
That's what that
what I'm
means.
saying.
So the reason I brought you, hold on, real quick. So the reason I brought you to Deuteronomy 23 was
what do you consider a Mamser? What do you consider a Mamser?
Hold on.
Now we gotta go back to say
Hold on. Just let me say this, right? I'm showing you a contradiction in your argument. In Deuteronomy 23, you are saying that after the third generation, a child that is born of an Egyptian, their bloodline can be cleaned and they can be brought into the congregation.
Let me correct myself. Not clean, that by the third generation you can blurt yourself back into the bloodline. That's scientific fact.
Right, but through what?
But they still cannot come into the congregation.
What?
Okay.
So let me explain myself.
Hold on. No, I want to finish my thought. Because this is the only reason. This is the only reason you thought you had to clean that up just now. Because it didn't make sense. Because on one hand, you're saying that after the third generation, this Mamser can come into the congregation. And then on the other hand, you saying that after the fifth generation, they can never come in. That don't make sense. So this is why we're trying to show you that.
Okay, let me explain myself.
No, brother, we are done. We are finished. You can come back on. You can come back on a different day. I gotta get some grocery. I gotta get some food. You know what I mean?
It don't matter how much you explain, it's never gonna make sense. Because
that's what I'm saying.
It
never is. That's why you keep having to explain it.
Right.
No, let me explain it. They can never come back in. So, if I have a child, right, by Caucasian, right, and that child become mixed. Now that child can either
it become
Caucasian. That child is mixed. That child is a bastard. Now that child bloodline is polluted. Now, if he continue to mix with a Caucasian person, he's blurted out. He's blurted out. He's no longer an Israelite. But if he mixed in with a black person and continue to mix in by the third generation, he's a full Israelite, but he's still considered a descendant of a bastard. But he's still considered a descendant of the bastard that can't come in the congregation. Now, are we clear?
Yeah, no, I understand. Hold up, real quick. I understand exactly what you're saying, but when I described that the first time we read Deuteronomy 23, you said it had nothing to do with us having seed or having children with those people. Now you describing it a whole different way. So hold on. Hold on. So Deuteronomy 23:8 says, the children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation in their third generation. It don't say they are Mamsers. It says they shall enter. So your whole argument is finished, brother. We are done right here. If you want to engage in this conversation anymore, then you can join on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, not Thursday, but you and not Saturday. You can join on any day.
Monday I'm gonna be talking to Miss Dinner.
Right.
I mean, Miss Dinner.
Commandments and stop.
Right. Hey, look, brother. Come. Hey, hit me up in the back chat. We'll talk, brother. We'll talk. I don't want.
You gonna have to mess up your Howard show on Wednesday.
Hey, man.
Hey, Howard not about to even let him get on the show, bro.
I had the one. Only got one question, man.
Go ahead, man. We gotta finish this up. This is crazy.
The only question I had was, how do you determine the ethnicity of a child according to the Bible?
He doesn't. It's mixed. Everybody mixed.
Everybody mixed, bro.
You've had 3 generations of black folk, according to him.
Hey, Adawan, before you got on, this nutcase said that Leah, Rachel, Bilhah, and Zilpah was Israelites. We finished right there. We was done right there.
Y'all done made me get up. I got hit by a truck yesterday at work. Y'all done made me get up. Right before this, as soon as I cut the computer on, I put in the chat. He say, yeah, you know, all 3 of them was Israelites. I said, I just got up for this. Like, bro, it was crazy.
Hey, we appreciate you jumping on, man. Hey, look, Israel, y'all know we love you. We got to get up out of here. I gotta get some groceries. Hey, let's hit them with that Daniel 7:18, man.
Yeah, hit him with that.
Man, this is the book of Daniel, chapter 7, and verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever, by Hashem HaMashiach Yahushua.
By Hashem HaMashiach Yahushua. Hey, we love y'all. Shalom.
Shalom.
This is not a test.